Well, I think he's a day late and a dollar short, as usual. Late to the table, late to the issue. The lead on this was being taken by Iram Lewis. Iram Lewis has been very forthright about his position on it in his party. And they called in Iram Lewis about a week or so ago and hauled him over the coals for being involved in the last public demonstration that took place in Freeport. So it seems to me that this is kind of double speak that they're engaged in. And so fine, everybody who comes to the table and says they're opposed to it, great. But, there's a credibility issue with relation to the leader of the opposition on this matter. We, of course, have a big tent and we welcome all those who support a just cause, whatever side you're on. But obviously, he has run into some rough weather with the organization because, as I said, I gather he was called in as a result of being at the last demonstration. Mm-hmm. That's their internal business, and I wouldn't venture into that. Well, my feeling is that if you're against the rate increase, you should jump in with both feet and say that right at the start. You shouldn't be equivocating. And what he did was he equivocated. He said, oh, well, I'm against the increase. After, of course, the public demonstrations took place and Mr. Lewis showed up on the first demonstration. We heard nothing from him. And then as the pressure increased, he said, oh, I'm against the rate increase, but at the same time, I support the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Well, this is having your cake and eating it too. You need to be clear and unequivocal. I stand with the Bahamian people. I stand with my constituents, and I am against the rate increase. And that's all that should have been said. Now, the other issue, of course, which we have is, pointed this out several times. So here's a man who a week ago told us that politicians from Nassau should stay out of Grand Bahama's business. But isn't it curious that he jumps on a plane and goes to Eleuthera and starts giving out water in Eleuthera? So on the politicians in Eleuthera, shouldn't they say, well, excuse me, aren't you from Grand Bahama? What are you doing over here interfering in our business? Now, of course, the logic is false that he espoused, but just to follow his logic, he becomes now a contradiction in terms. And that's the problem with the leader of the opposition on all kinds of issues. You're here, you're there, you're back, you're front, anywhere. It's literally, it appears, sticking your finger in the wind and saying, which way is the wind blowing this day? And I'm for that. Yeah. That's what I mean by a credibility problem. It's for us to call out that behavior and to reassert that the Progressive Liberal Party, for our part, we oppose the increase. We do not think that the Grand Bahama Port Authority has the jurisdiction to deal with this matter. This is a matter for IRCA. And that's our position, simpliciter, without any adornment or any garnish, anything. That is our position. And we support all those who oppose it. The port doesn't have the funds to do what they're supposed to do in Grand Bahama. I saw where one of the principals, the fellow who I've told should really stay out of the public domain, was in the newspapers again today talking about they give money to this side and give money to the other side. It's none of your business. Nobody asked you, stay out of it. But, every week you're in the newspaper trying to manipulate and twist and turn and all the rest of it. And the question isn't whether who gives money or who doesn't give money. The question is not for him. The question is for the leader of the opposition. Is there a quid pro quo in exchange for future support, not past support? That's not what anybody's talking about. The question is, why can't the leader of the opposition make an unequivocal statement in support of the Bahamian people, the Marco City constituents, and the people of Grand Bahama? If he can't make an unequivocal statement, then it leads discerning people to say to themselves, is this being done for a reason? And what is the reason? Could it be because of some future donation or promise of a donation or what? That's the issue. And that's for Michael Pintard to answer, not the directors of the port. Stay out of it. It's none of your business. I wish that civil society, someone in civil society would intervene, either now or when they try to increase the bills, to injunct them and have a court decide who is responsible for the regulations. There's a court case now. We're awaiting a decision, but My view, if I were a consumer in Grand Bahama, I would have gone to court myself personally and blocked the increase. Simple as that. And somebody should do so.